Hey everyone, welcome to the KE Report and a company update from Sitka Gold, chatting with Mike Burke, Director and Vice President of Corporate Development. This is going to be an exploration update from the 30,000-meter drill program at the RC Gold Project in the Yukon, in the Tombstone Gold Belt, as we are starting to see some results from the summer drilling starting to come in from the Blackjack area, as well as recapping an extension to a winter drill hole, the deepest drill hole ever drilled on the project, I believe. Sitka Gold is traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol SIG, on the OTCQB under the symbol SITKF, and the Frankfurt Exchange 1RF. Now, Mike, let's start off with the most recent news release just yesterday, June 26th. Headline says Sitka Gold intersects 211 meters of 1.13 grams per ton gold, including little over 73 meters of just over 2 grams per ton gold in the first hole of the season. This was drilled at the Blackjack Zone. So, Mike, just first of all, just kick us off with reminding everybody this drill program and now the start of results coming in from the summer part of the drilling.
That's right. We did two holes in the winter. We can drill year round up here. So we did hole 75 and 76. And as you mentioned, we'll speak about that a bit later. We extended 76 and now we have results of hole 77 in. That was drilled on the Blackjack Deposit as well. The focus of our program there is to keep expanding the Blackjack. We haven't defined that deposit yet. So we've got one drill working on the Blackjack Deposit, doing that work, and that's where hole 77 comes from with the results that you mentioned. So as a bit of a step out again. So again, a nice broad intersection with a nice core of, that better than 2 grams, 2.04 or 0.05 grams over 73 meters is a nice sweet spot in there. So that, obviously is going to add some ounces to our resources. And that's the goal of the drilling at Blackjack, is to keep adding ounces there. We have another drill on the Saddle Zone that was just a little bit east, less than a kilometer from Blackjack. The Saddle Zone lies within the conceptual pit limits of the mineral resource estimate of the Blackjack. So any drilling we do there and we hit mineralization, and what that's going to do is convert rock that's currently considered waste into, potentially, well, it is mineralized material, but the goal there again is to develop a resource there, and that'll impact the Blackjack deposit. And then just a little bit further to the east is the Eiger. And the Eiger, we haven't drilled that since its discovery in 2021. So we're happy to be back at the Eiger and drilling holes there as well. So this Blackjack Eiger saddle corridor, 15,000 meters of drilling planned. That's where we've concentrated in the start of the season. So we have the most drilling up there. But we've also, plucked a few holes into the Rhosgobel to the south.
So, Mike, let's look at figure one from that news release from yesterday regarding hole 77 here. Now, the resource at Blackjack, currently in the last resource update, about 2.3 million ounces. That's indicated and inferred added together. With this drill hole, it's hard to tell when you're just looking at these 2D images, but give us an understanding of what it could do in terms of expanding the resource, how this hole relates to some of those faded out holes that we see that look like they're all around this hole 77.
Yeah, you're right. It's really hard to depict 3D things in 2D. So the sections that we do, you get a view in and out of the page of an additional 30 meters, I believe it is. So you see holes that are, behind the section in the distance and in the foreground towards you when you're looking at it. So this hole filled in a gap in the resource where it was still open. So we're pretty happy with, obviously, very happy with the results of this hole. Demonstrates again the continuity of the higher grade portion of this deposit, which we're seeing both at depth and all the way up to surface. So it kind of fills that and helps us keep refining our model. But definitely it'll add some ounces to the resource figure when we do update that mineral resource estimate.
So continuing to look at this figure one, I'm kind of curious here, Mike. It looks like the highest grade portion of this hole right down to about that 500 mark. So I assume that's 500 meters down hole After that mark for the next 200 plus meters, looks like mineralization drops off. Can you give us maybe some insights on if you think that's maybe where mineralization stops at about 500 meters downhole? What might be happening lower down in this system?
Yeah, again, if we had more sections there, you could see some of our deeper drilling is quite a bit lower down. The holes 75, 76 would step back and cut quite far underneath this. So we're seeing the higher grade portion a little bit on the western edge of where we intersect this dike swarm. So again, we're just cutting through the core of the mineralization. And then you're correct at about that 500-meter mark. We kind of hit that Lampreyfield dike. That's a critical part. We think of the plumbing system for the gold. And then as we keep drilling, we're kind of above, I would say above the deposit, the core of the deposit. So yeah, it's all good information. We do still hit sniffs of gold down there, but not that nice, consistent high grade core that we see up higher in the drill hole.
So one other thing in that news release talks about how you have completed over 10,000 meters in 23 holes of this planned 30,000 meter drill program. You've completed this early, ahead of schedule, and under budget. What does that mean for this 30,000 meters? Could you expand on this program this year?
Yeah, definitely. If we keep up the pace, and we're extremely pleased with the drillers, Kluane Drilling, local Yukon company, doing a great job for us. And everybody talks about your all-in cost per meter, and when your drillers are cranking it out, that's a big part of lowering those costs. So that does give us optionality at the end of the year if we're still ahead of schedule and we complete that 30,000 meters before the end of our typical field season. It gives us the option to keep going. So we have the funds in our budget because this drilling program that we're doing, we have 25 million in the bank, and we have, kind of a $15 million budget. So between the fine work that our crews are doing on the ground and our financial situation, we definitely have the ability to extend or expand the program for sure.
All right, let's also look at that June 11th news release where you deepened the winter drill hole, hole 66, I believe, or hole 76. In that cross section, figure one, we can see just how deep that hole goes. How does this relate to that last hole we're talking about? Give us more insights on what you're seeing even deeper down in the system.
Yeah, again, these are a little off section. So hole 77 would be in behind the page a little bit more and higher up where it, crossed the Lampreyfield dike. So we're seeing this underground portion where we extended 76. We've got about 5 holes down there now that have intersected the higher grade mineralization at depth, and we're able to start modeling where that is and plan deeper holes as well. So we definitely have more deep drilling to do on this area. So it's certainly everything adds into that model. Every hole you do refines the model, but this certainly it's hard to tie 77 and 76 exactly together because they're kind of on different sections. So where we see the core of the high grade mineralization at depth, that's where this whole 76 cross section is, and 77, like I said, is just offset from that.
So still related to the resource then. Mike, if we take a step back, already what you've seen in very early on results from this program, some of the winter holes and then this first summer hole, where do you see the best opportunity to add ounces just at this Blackjack deposit? Is it deeper or is it continuing to drill a long strike, spread out? Maybe the resources grow the resources simply to the side of where you've already drilled.
Yeah, well, it's both. Like our deep drilling really, I mean, we're seeing indications of a resource, but we're well below our mineral resource estimate, our pit constrained mineral resource estimate. So the drilling there is, we'll have to work on producing a new resource estimate for underground, right? Deeper mineralization. So that's the goal there. Certainly our near surface and along strike to the north and the south are areas where we see strong mineralization still, and those drill holes will add some ounces pretty quick as long as they're successful in hitting mineralization. And as we said in our press release yesterday, we on that Blackjack, we've seen visible gold in every one of the drill holes that we've completed this year. So, it doesn't always correlate perfectly, but when you see gold, you know you've found it. So we're looking forward to getting the assays on those, and we know we're adding some ounces to this resource estimate. Again, the goal of this year's drilling, expand that Blackjack deposit, expand the Eiger, bring the saddle zone into the resource. Then we can update the resource in, the first quarter of 2026.
And this Rhosgobel target. You're working towards an initial resource here, allocating about 10,000 meters just to Rhosgobel. It even says in the most recent news release that in the first three drill holes, you've seen visible gold. So, what could we be in for at Rhosgobel?
Yeah, we've always been very excited about Rhosgobel. We got in there last year for the very first time to drill that area. It's never been diamond drilled before. It saw some shallow drilling back in 1995 by Kennecott. But last year we got the first two holes, diamond drill holes into the Rhosgobel. We had 105, or it was, what was it? It was 119 meters of 1.05 grams per ton gold in the very first hole in Rhosgobel. So we've been itching to get back there, obviously. And now we've done three holes. We're stepping out at a drill spacing designed to be able to let us calculate another initial resource estimate as long as all those drill results are positive. And seeing visible gold in these first three drill holes, it's great because we're lucky. Visible gold, like we say, it's not an indicator of the assays, but certainly if you see a lot of gold, you're going to see good assays. So to be able to visually identify that mineralization and keep doing our drill planning around that, that's a real valuable tool for us. Not only in, are we hitting the goods there, but also it lets us design our drill program and modify it as needed. And so we're obviously pretty excited about hitting visible gold in Rhosgobel, and that's gonna keep us going. We've got the drill spinning there, and we'll have another drill eventually here. We might move one or get another drill, and we've got the Pukaman target as well. So we've got all these intrusions on the property are gold bearing. We're starting to prove up the potential for, discovery of additional deposits besides the two that we found so far. So fingers crossed, our success keeps going. We're pretty encouraged and excited about these early season results.
Now, Mike, what has the turnaround time been at the assay labs? Because boy, oh boy, there's a lot of drilling going on, not just in the Yukon, but in a lot of other areas. Have you seen a slowdown in the results? And if you have, does that impact at all how you allocate, again, the rest of this 30,000 meter program, or even if you decide to extend it?
No, I mean, lab turnaround times are what they are. Like I said, we're lucky in that we do have gold that we can see visually, so we have a good idea of when we're in the goods or not. So that lets us keep going. And that's what we don't base our drill planning on the assays. So yeah, drill turnaround time. Yeah, the first hole 77, it's about a month, but we've definitely seen a bit of a slowdown. Yeah, there's a lot of drills going in the Yukon right now. Snow lines up and running. 40,000 meters. Banyon's doing 30,000. Gladiator Metals is doing a big program. Other people are firing up. So things are happening in the Yukon. It's not just us putting out great results, but there's a lot of interesting things going on. So, yeah, yeah, we're happy to see our colleagues having success, but hopefully the labs can keep up. I know they're expecting a big season, so we'll count on them keeping that turnaround time up and not fall behind too much.
All right, Mike, thank you for this update. Again, Mike Burke, Director and Vice President of Corporate Development over at Sitka Gold. If you want to read over those recent news releases, click the link in the show notes. And also, please send me any questions you have for Mike for future interviews. I'll be following up with Mike as more of the drill results from this 30,000 meter program are released. So, Mike, thanks again for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for yours too, Corey.